覚悟してろよ。行くぜ。
Welcome to Wordbreaker Coo's Reviews. I'm your host, Wordbreaker Coo, and today we're looking at my top 10 Marvel Legends of 2023. I've seen so many people's versions of these videos. Lots of them are really entertaining to watch. Very different pick for myself. These are my runners-up. I really fell out of a line with a lot of the Marvel Legends this year just because there were so freaking many of them. And overall, like, it just was not the best year. I cut back heavily. Even with cutting back heavily, there are still some runners up. This Iron Man figure here, just chef's kiss. Really good figure. If it had a little bit more paint, I probably would have picked it up as in my top 10. But it wasn't lacking in some paint, especially on some of these lines that are just not painted. This Spider-Man figure was great. It's just last year we had such a great Spider-Man and this one was slightly not accurate to the film. Like, I don't remember all that blue from the movie, but it's still a great figure. And the back hump there is just killing it. So that's why I did not make my top 10, but I still like this figure a lot. She was in my top 10. I had to back her out because I realized I left a character out. The only reason she didn't make the top 10 is the body is the same from last year from Quake and Maria Hill. It's just they changed the neck piece coloring so it can be blue and it can be more than just one race. So that was a smart idea on their path, but it is essentially the same exact figure. If you don't believe me, here is a Maria Hill right there. And now you can see it's basically the same thing. Okay. So do I like, and what really did with this pack was the faces. So there's so many faces in this pack that you gotta love it. So there we go. On to number 10. Number 10 for me is the first time in the line. Monae from the X-Men. I love the X-Men, if you guys don't know already. They're my favorite superhero group of all time, period. Not even close. Favorite comic books, X-Men, everything. So when they did the figure, I like it a lot. A lot of people complained about the headpiece and her head being too small. I think that's just right. I think that suits her body well. And the face is beautiful. It should be. She is a supermodel. So Monae looks great. I'm glad to have her in my collection. Hopefully we'll get some more like as her as being Penis. But that's why she made my number 10 and the top 10 of my collection for this year. Coming in at number 9 is Bishop. I did not plan on getting this figure at all, and I saw the body, the scope, the head. I was like, whoa, I've got to pick this up. It's rare that you get a figure that you do not want to buy, like at all, and it completely changes your mind right then and there in store once you see it in person. That's the power of putting Marvel Legends inside a store where you can actually see the figures. When they're in boxes, often you can skip some of this stuff, but when you see them in a plastic case and you can see a face scope size as herpy lip, you're like, whoa, I'm getting that. I'm picking this up. So he's number 9. My number 7, am I that's right? Is it 10, 8? Yes. My number 7 is actually right here. Guys, I'm sorry, I can't count. I had to stop for a minute. My number 8, because I just did Bishop and Monae. So this is my number 8. She is Electra. This would have been higher if they would have gave me remember there was a white Electra earlier this year in the 3-pack, and she had the mask off. If they would have gave me that one with all the hair going on top of this head, this would be my number 1 or number 2 for sure. So it's just a great figure. Just I wish we would have had a Electra head to go with it. That's unmasked. But this is, again, you can't get too much better than this figure. Look at the articulation. Look at the sculpt. It's pinless. Oh, man. The wrapping. The way they sculpted the hair coming out. Beautiful. So, number 8, Electra. Number 7 is Astonishing Cyclops. I really like this figure. Again, I wish we could have had a unmasked version, or just another head, but this is still really nice. It's a great figure. He's a little bit shorter than the other Cyclops, which is really weird, but I like that they actually added the raised application of his suit design there. It's just another banger. So they've been knocking out the park. Another year at the Cyclops. Of course, he's gonna be my top 10. Anytime there's a good Cyclops, I pick him up. They're going to be in my top 10. Now, next at number 6, we have Wolverine. Yes, a Wolverine actually made my top 10. Mostly the same buck as we've been getting. However, this one is pinless. Now, pinless is fine. I was not going to get this guy either, but when I saw the head sculpt, I was like, well, shit. I have to get it now because this is the best Logan head sculpt I've ever seen. Combined with this nice other headpiece that you can easily put on as well. And you got yourself some making of one of the greatest Wolverines probably I've ever owned in my collection, with the nice claws that are animation accurate. So I love this guy. So number 6, Wolverine. Now here we go, entering my top 5. And yes, we have the Green Goblin. I didn't feel like taking this guy down, so I apologize about that. But he is number 5. Great figure. He had a lot more budget, so that's why he's a little bit lower, because I didn't think it was really fair to have him number in my top 3. And he still has a little bit of articulation issues, but again, you cannot miss this guy. So number 5, Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. Speaking of controversial picks, number 4 is my SpiderMan from Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield. I've been waiting for Andrew Garfield for a long time. He is my favorite Spider-Man. No, his movies are not the best. Yes, do I still think he's the best Spider-Man? Of course I do. Do I think the Gwen Stacy is the best love interest he's ever had? Yes, as far as the movies go. It's just the script was bad for the villains for the most part. So we can't, blame them for that. But this is my Spider-Man right here. So Andrew Garfield is my number 4th pick. Now we're getting down to the meat and potatoes. Before I get to my top 3, I wanted to distract you because I know it's going to be very, very disappointing for some of you guys once you see who my number 3 is. You're like, what? Come on, man. There's no articulation. I don't care. So here we go with Emma freaking Frost from the Astonishing run. That is one of my favorite comic book runs of all time. Top 5, probably top 3. So yes, of course I'm gonna put her in there. And yes, I'm aware she has no articulation at all because in her hands, because she can't raise her shoulders. I'm gonna mod mine eventually once I get a cloth cape and do some work on it. But when I asked, is this the picturesque model of Emma Frost? I'm gonna say, oh hell yeah, that's Emma. That is Emma freaking Frost right there. So yeah, especially from that Astonishing run. It's not the most beautiful face, but it is the face that she had me mugging everybody in Astonishing. So she is my number 3. I just realized this is the first time I had an even amount of women on my top 10 countdown as male characters. Good job, Hasbro, for stepping it up. On here, I have Black Widow. This was a Target exclusive, and they freaking killed this figure in a good way. I mean, 3 heads, all amazing. The articulation on her is ridiculous. And by ridiculous, it's standard to man. So finally, why aren't we using this buck more often? It's really starting to piss me off. Hasbro, no, they could be doing better instead of keeping giving us the same figures that can't move like we've been getting for 2 decades. So this is an amazing figure. She was nearly my top number 1. Nearly. She was very close. If you don't have this figure, go get her somewhere. She's amazing. Time for my number 1. Now, most of you guys are probably seeing her all over everywhere right now because she's in a lot of top 10s. It's number 1 or number 2 or number 3. I don't see her. I have not seen her yet lower than that. And that's because this is a work of art. Spiral is one of my favorite characters in the X-Men villain universe. And actually was a hero for a little bit for X-Force. For like 2-3 issues. But still, I'll count it. The only thing that could have made her a perfect 10 is if they would have gave us a helmetless hair piece or head. Then she would have been 10 out of 10. Because that's the only thing I wish we would have had. Just a hair piece or head that's with just no helmet. Because she's a beautiful character. Love this chick. She's a shit. Look at the boots. Look at the boots. I mean, man, oh man. I mean, the fact that they can get this right, and I've been waiting for a long time for a Spiral, and they did it justice. So that's my number one. Thank you for watching. Until next time, peace and chicken grease. Happy New Year.